All right, take three. Yeah, okay. We seem to be at a good volume now. There's still a little bit of a lag, but it's not as bad as it was. So yeah, if a little lag shows up, I apologize for that. The important thing's really the audio. But yeah, I had to turn my volume now because I think yeah, it keeps saying there's a coding issue. So yeah, regardless, Q&A, June, we're in June, June 2024. As always, the Q&A is always a fun time to be had. So let's just get into it. And a lot of people did a lot of multiple questions, which is fun because there's a lot to talk about. So honestly, let's get into this right now. Slim Shady 8716 says, glad to be back and happy on the numbers of subscribers you've gotten. Let's get to the questions. I'm happy about it too. You know, we're not as once we hit around 10,000, the increase did slow down, but it's never stopped. It's just now just kind of incremental. Anyway, you have 4 questions. Was there anime quotes you found yourself saying out of context in real life? Because remember, there are quotes I've said in real life, like sanity. What would I ever do with something as useless as that? Lucky for me, I never had any such thing. But there's context. In terms of out of context, no, I can't unfortunately think of anything I've said out of context for an anime quote. Number 2, do you think Reed Richard would be able to make a device to help keep Broly, Dragon Ball Super, under control? Absolutely. He's the smartest man in the multiverse. He's created the ultimate actually, I don't think he's created the ultimate nullifier, but he's because of the level of power some individuals have in Marvel and how Reed Richards has gone about controlling them and how energy absorption works. So I fully believe he could create a device that could keep Broly under control. Number 3, which superheroes do you think has the most varied and iconic rogue gallery? Oh, I mean, really, it's kind of boring to say. It's either Batman. If you're talking about iconic, it's got to be Batman. Even more so than Spider-Man, it's Batman. Because when you think about iconic with Spider-Man, Venom is iconic. Green Goblin and Doc Ock are also kind of iconic. Mysterio's not iconic. Popular, but not iconic. Yet, really, there's no one else within Batman or Spider-Man's rogue gallery that I would say is iconic. Batman, Joker, Two-Face, Poison Ivy, the Penguin, Harley Quinn. Those are just the name Mr. Freeze. That's 6 right out the gate, and I could probably keep going for iconic. Varied, however, I would actually probably give that to Spider-Man. And by the way, those are just those 2. Other characters have rogues galleries from comic. Like Superman has a rogues gallery. He does. I just don't think it's very varied, nor is it very iconic. The only real iconic thing for Superman is Lex Luthor. That's iconic. And maybe Darkseid. Other than that, though, you'd be every character has their own kind of rogues gallery. Daredevil's a rogues gallery, neither iconic nor varied. Wolverine's got a rogues gallery, neither iconic nor varied. Green Lantern's got a rogues gallery. Wonder Woman's got a rogues gallery, neither very iconic nor varied. Flash has got a rogues gallery. I'll say Flash's, though, it's pretty varied. So I'll say that. Number 4, what are your biggest pet peeves when you're doing your videos? Honestly, because I don't really do edits, trying to do the one take. And I just realized I'm lagging right now a little bit. I warned you that probably happened a bit. But doing the one takes, that'd probably be my biggest peeve when doing my videos, is getting interrupted when doing that. Because I don't do edits. Usually I don't. On a rare occasion, I've tried doing it, and it's worked out okay. But I kind of just tend to do a one take. So that'd be my biggest pet peeve when doing a video. Marcus Kane comes in with 9 questions. All right, Marcus, let's show me what you got. Do you think Wonder Woman would be able to humble Saiyan Saga Vegeta? Yes, but keep in mind, Saiyan Saga Vegeta can still blow up a planet with just firing an energy blast. So he stole a planet buster. So while Wonder Woman is still much stronger, faster, and overall more powerful individual, and Vegeta can move at relativistic light speeds. I don't know if it's true light speed, but he can definitely move in that ballpark. I think he'd definitely be able to give her a fight, but yes, I do think Wonder Woman would still be able to humble him. If Ichigo Kurosaki were to become the Ghost Rider, would that affect his Zanpakuto, or would it be something different altogether? See, here's the thing when it comes to that. I think the answer might be yes. We don't have a lot of here, because when Ichigo became a Vizard, for example, Well, to be fair, or sorry, when the visors became visors and had hollow Ryato introduced, their Zanpakutos didn't change. That didn't affect their souls. But having an extra spirit within him, what we did see with like Komamura, for example, when he did the humanization technique, is it did change his Zanpakuto. So having an extra spirit in there, I would have to guess would affect his Zanpakuto in some way. Whether it creates hellfire or whether it's like it's weaponizing the penance stare into the Zanpakuto as a true special like finisher move, like a penance gets like a Tencho, maybe that. But yeah, I would think it would affect his Zanpakuto. What would you say is the best and worst Disney animated movies? Oh God. Okay, so if we're factoring Pixar into that equation, because that is still Disney, I would say like the top 3 best ones off the top of my head would be Coco, the original Beauty and the Beast, and I love The Rescuers Down Under, but I don't think it's the best of the Disney. It's still really underrated and really good. And then maybe Inside Out or Inside Out 2, one of the, because I'm still wondering if I like Inside Out 2 more than Inside Out 1. The worst ones, Black Cauldron. That's not a very good. Home on the Range, I believe it was the one with the cows. And Disney's Planes. I'd say those are some of your worst ones. And you might be saying, why not Wish? Wish, as not good as Wish is, I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as people kind of make out to be. It's just kind of all ramshackled together in these ideas. Number 4, what mythology do you find yourself immersed in the most? If we're talking about real world mythology, probably Greek or Egyptian. Now we're talking about mythos from like shows or like, in fictional worlds or something like that. Now you're looking at something like, say, I'm very much, again, Bleach. I bring up Bleach a lot, but I'm very much immersed in that world very well. I'm also immersed in the MCU lore, like a lot in the Marvel Comics lore. But if we're talking about the real world mythologies that exist, I would say probably Egyptian or Greek. Although Irish or like Gaelic mythology as well. Number 5, what country or countries would you like to visit? I'm not big on travel, I'm going to be honest, but if I did have any interest in visiting outside the country, honestly, Canada. Canada would be fun. If we're going a bit more like, say, exotic, I wouldn't mind visiting something like the Philippines or something like that, some kind of place tropical like that. Or Australia. Australia would be kind of fun to visit. What comedy live-action sitcoms do you enjoy the most? My favorite live-action sitcoms that I remember actually watching, like when the new episodes came out, that kind of thing, and I would watch and repeat, that 70s Show, and 2.5 Men before Ashton Kutcher came along. Those were like the 2 real big ones. And I still will put 2.5 Men on in syndication in the bag just to have something to watch. Or just while I'm doing stuff, because I really did, like, the first few seasons of 2.5 Men are like comedy gold, and then I want to say that show went downhill, not downhill. It started to lose its footing, but still was funny around season 6, and season 8's definitely the weakest one, but there's still a lot of humor in there. So yeah, those would probably be the 2 big ones. That 70s Show and 2.5 Men. Number 7, what exotic animal would you like as a pet? If I could keep it as a pet, I have no issues keeping it as a pet, legality, funding, like being able to care for it, and assuming that isn't going to try to turn on me, actually a cheetah would be kind of nice, because they're actually very similar to dogs compared to some other big cats. So a cheetah would be one, but again, I have a decent amount of room for it to run around too out of my yard, so there's that. Beyond that, yeah, I'll say a cheetah, because it's at least comparable to a dog. Let's see. If you could be any 90s action in any 90s action movie world, which one would I choose? Oh God, probably any of the ones where it's pretty much just a real world. There's too many to really count. I can't remember most of them off the top of my head, but any of them where the 90s action doesn't mean I'm going to get killed, like a clear and present danger, or Terminator. Something where science fiction isn't going to come to kill me. And last, who would win? And I already wrote this down, so I'll go in more in depth in it. Who would win in a fight, the Predator or Captain America? Captain America, in my opinion. The vibranium, that his shield alone can just take any Predator weapon to the face. He's already peak human, so he's actually as strong, if not stronger, than a Predator. And if Dutch can do it, Captain America can do it. So that's my thoughts. All right, coming to us now from Ichiko Kurosaki. Congrats, comrade, on the newest milestone. Thank you, comrade. So number 1 of 8. Could Steven defeat Atom Smasher? Steven who? You didn't specify who Steven is. You did not. Yeah, you didn't. Oh, sorry, not Steven. Could the 7? I'm sorry. Could the 7 beat Atom Smasher? Are we talking Atom Smasher from the DC comic, or because I just did that Johnny Silverhand video from Cyberpunk? Either way, yes, because none of them are really capable of taking on Homelander. So yes. Number 2, Jason Voorhees versus Leatherface. Who has the worst backstory? Jason Voorhees. If we're talking about like what created them, it's Jason Voorhees, because while both are like mentally stunted and both are to a degree kind of not malformed but disfigured to some degree, yet Leatherface ultimately just still grows up into a man and takes care of his family, so that's fine. As a kid, he was tormented and allegedly drowned and had to live in the woods. And his mom gets killed. So you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go with Jason on that. He has got the worst backstory. Number 3, what if Anakin were born in the Old Republic? Well, first off, he wouldn't be the chosen one. Unless it's the same circumstances and the chosen one prophecy came about even before then. In the Old Republic, there's no Palpatine around. There's not even any Plagueis. I'll be honest, Anakin might just become a straight out Jedi, assuming they find him. Because remember, they didn't know about him until they found him on Tatooine. Because the Metachlorians, kind of hid that. So yeah, I think he might actually just become a straight, and arguably the strongest Jedi ever. What is the most surprising what if you've done that you haven't given much thought about before? The most surprising one. When you say surprising, like the topic itself was a weird one. Like what if Karen Cooper became a minion of Lord Zed? Karen Cooper, the little girl from Nightmare, from Night of the Living Dead. I'm like, that's just weird. That is just weird. And it's very hard to, and like the very subject nature, the nature of that what if makes it very actually difficult to do. So I guess I'd go with that one. I tried not to go with these really weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, that was fine. That was hardly the weirdest one I've ever seen given. But I try not to go with these really weird what ifs or really convoluted what ifs because, again, I'm not doing fanfic. And I keep getting people say, you should do fanfic. Like, no, I'm not doing it. I had someone recently say, you should do what ifs with zero logic. No, because now that's a fanfic. I just told you. I'm sorry if you're not doing what you want me to do, but that's just the way it is. All right, then. Fine. Are you a fan of Star Wars Legends or canons? Both. I am. First off, look. If you legitimately think the prequels are better than the sequels, that's fine. That is fine. But don't be one of these revisionist people who said, "Oh no, the sequels are way better." Didn't you crap on them before? Well, yeah, but they're still better. No. Like, from a filmmaking quality, from a storytelling perspective up until Rise of Skywalker, the sequels, I think, are leagues beyond the prequels in terms of quality. I actually think if they had just fixed the bad parts of The Last Jedi, that Last Jedi would have been better than Rise of Skywalker, or Force Awakens, sorry. Because the best parts of The Last Jedi are far better than the best parts of The Force Awakens, but the worst parts are far worse. So it's really balanced out, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't stick my head on the sand on the sequels. I'm not one of those people who say, for me, there's only these movies. These are the only canon. Well, you can think that, but you're wrong. Because the movies are Lucas canon. Those are your legitimate canon. So, yeah. Regardless, I like the canon stuff. I'm even softer on the prequels than most. I don't think the prequels are very good, mind you. Clone Wars is the worst one. Clone Wars is honestly just boring as hell, and not a lot of stuff's happening in there. Episode 1 suffers from just bad direction, bad writing, and some bad acting, which just still is a lot, but still. But there's still some great stuff, and the Duel of the Fates is still fantastic. Revenge of the Sith is I actually think a decent film. I actually don't think it's a very bad film. And then I actually liked all the spin-off movies they did. I liked Rogue One's really good. And I liked Solo. Didn't do well, but I liked Solo. But I also like the Legend stuff. The Grand Admiral Thrawn trilogy, Yusei Vong. I even like Aboleth. Aboleth is a really cool idea, like almost Cthulhu-esque being of like Star Wars. That's a really good. I like that stuff. So there's stuff in Legends I don't like. Throwing a moon at Chewbacca to kill him, hate that. The cloning of the Emperor is cool in novels, but sucks in canon. So yeah, either way, I like both. If you ask me which one I like more, though, I might actually lean a little bit towards Legends, because we still got Revan in Legends and all that, and Revan's badass. All right, number 6. Does the Hulk have enough power to make Superman bleed? Yes, he does. Is he strong enough to beat Superman? If you max out the full potential of the Hulk, maybe? But that's assuming Superman isn't going all out at that point. Like, here's the thing. I'm one of those people who always contends that Goku can beat Superman. When Death Battle does it, they always got to max out the characters, though. And Superman's got some bullshit feats. There's a question I saw later on about why I don't like Superman. I'm going to get to that more later on. But despite that, he's got some bullshit feats. But here's the thing. Realistically, it's very like when you watch that Death Battle in the most recent one, Superman's going through the entire universe to like just power himself up with the stars. Like, Superman wouldn't do that unless it's a world, like a universe reality ending threat. Goku isn't necessarily that. They're just having a fight. So in my opinion, that's why I think Goku could actually beat Superman, is because I don't ever actually see Superman being at full power in that fight. Likewise, Hulk is one of those individuals that it might take a while for Superman to get the full power, but if he goes to full power, then Superman's probably going to just stomp him, even with Hulk going all out. Anyway, so that's my thoughts. Number 7, who could win an eating contest? Beerus, Monkey D. Luffy, or Toriko? I actually am not very familiar with Toriko, but given how much I've seen Luffy be able to eat, I will go Luffy. Although I've seen the spread for Beerus multiple times. Beerus always seems to just kind of be hungry. I don't know. Maybe Beerus would win, but again, I've never seen him like how much he can actually eat in one sitting. That's the thing. I'll go Monkey D. Luffy. And finally, 8. What crossover shows you figure thought would that sentence structure needs a little work? What crossover shows you figure thought would be interesting to see, provided they were well written? Like TV shows? I don't know. I think it could have been fun to see some shows cross over, say like House, like the NCIS is crossed over and the CSI is crossed over plenty of times. But I would have liked to have seen some shows cross over with House or something like that. I don't know really, or like TV show or anime. I really couldn't answer that. Sorry. King Shadow just sends a nice comment. Very interesting. Thank you. Insane Makayoshin gives me 1 of 5. Any collabs planned going forward, or anyone you want to collab with? Nothing planned going forward, and I probably don't plan on doing that for any time soon, if at all. People I'd like to collaborate with? I mean, Dispo Knight, I think, does like some collabs where they talk about, like I watched one of the recent ones where they like threw Wolverine at the Akatsuki and see if he could run the gauntlet. I'd like to have debates like that, so maybe something like that. Hell, Cinema Therapy ever wants me on the show, not that they'll ever will, not that they even know I exist. I'll take Cinema Therapy. I love Cinema Therapy and give my take on stuff like that. So yeah, I'd do that, sure. But hell, John Campea show, he'll never get me on the show. But I'd love to be at least have a spot on there. But no, not really. No one I'd really have any direct desires like I want to collab with this guy. No, or any plans in the future. 2, what series would you like to cover in What Ifs that you have yet to cover? Oh, that's a good question. I haven't done a My Hero What If yet, so that's definitely on the, and that's on the docket. Don't worry. Now that My Hero's more or less wrapped up, it's still in the epilogue, but it's more or less wrapped up. I will be doing My Hero, so that's definitely on the list. Yeah, I think I've done a what if of every main series one that I would like to do. Like, I don't really have huge interest in One Piece, but I'll do it eventually when I get around to it. But yeah. Number 3, have you thought about doing reaction videos, both in general and regarding your other YouTube videos or fanfics? I did do reaction videos, and actually I still do whenever Death Battle, because apparently Death Battle had good news. They just haven't revealed what the good news is yet. So apparently Death Battle isn't going to be gone, which is good. So I do Death Battle reactions, just because of everything that went on with Rooster Teeth. We haven't had the next season yet. Beyond that, though, I did for a while do trailer reactions, but I don't do trailer reactions anymore. I don't react to other people's YouTube videos usually, and I'm definitely not going to be reading fanfics. So sorry about that. But I do occasionally do a reaction with, like, say, Death Battle. Number 4, what is the worst injury, disease, or medical condition you've ever experienced? I got COVID twice, but both times really wasn't that bad. Been hit with flus once or twice, and those suck. Those like floored me for a little bit. Migraines, I am prone to migraines every once in a while, and when those hit, the worst one I had was like a few months back. Oh, that was bad. I was out. I was done. Worst injury though, and I gave myself an ulcer, unfortunately, when I did that damn flatline. So, and I did that too many times. So yeah, there's that. But worst injuries? I think the worst injury I've ever done really is just sprain my wrist once. That's it. I've never broken a bone, thank God. Knock on wood. But yeah. So, and finally, number 5. What other what if YouTubers do you recommend for the following series? Black Clover. Don't know many people who talk about Black Clover. My Hero. Tekken 101 was talking about My Hero. And I definitely recommend it for Bleach. Tekken 101 and Mr. Tomai 12 for Bleach. Definitely. Naruto, NC Hammer, Nick, I recommend him for Naruto. He's a damn good Naruto YouTuber. One Piece, I know, Tekken 101, again, I recommend for that. Fairy Tail, I don't know anyone who talks about Fairy Tail anymore, to be honest. Yeah, so Black Clover and Fairy Tail are the ones I really don't have a firm answer for, but when it comes to Bleach, Tekken 101 and Mr. Tomai 12, or Tomo 12, and when it comes to Naruto and My Hero, again, Anime Plot Armor, I think, does My Hero, pretty decent My Hero video as well, although his tabs can be a little clickbaity. That's the word I'm looking for. Clickbaity. And then, yeah, I don't, think words here. Naruto, yeah, Nick, NC Hammer. Yeah, I recommend him. User, I believe this is Powered in 99. I think I've remembered it at this point. What are your thoughts on Naruto Pokemon crossovers? I have no issues with them. I plan to do them eventually whenever I get to them in my list. The question's just going to be when I do it, because there's 2 ways to do it, and I'll do both of them. Do you want a Pokemon crossover in the Naruto world, where Pokemon just exist in the Naruto world, and I got to make it that way? Because crossovers, when I do crossovers like that, that's as close to fanfic as you're getting, and because that definitely gets in fanfic. Or are we talking a Pokemon world that has Naruto characters in it? And I might follow a little bit of the story beats of Naruto in it. So you have to define what you're talking about when you talk about that. But yeah, I have no problem with it, and I'll eventually do it. Logan Stone, this is one of the most recent people to comment. This might fall under both who would win and what if, so be warned. What if L from Death Note was in Monster? I did, by the way, write this. By the way, any who or when or what if did get written down in the book, so I'm just going to give you my bare bones opinion. If you're talking about the movie with Charlize Theron and Nicole Richie, the one where she won her Oscar for, he'd be able to figure out who it is immediately, because L is that good of a genius. He's a Sherlock Holmes on steroids, kind of. So yeah. What TV shows? Number 2. It's 1 of 8, so 2 of 8. What TV show genres that you? Which do I enjoy and which do I dislike? Genres? I actually run the gamut with genres. I like science fiction, action, comedy, superheroes, all of that. I am not a reality TV show, though. I do not like. There are some shows I watch with my girlfriend because it's just trash and we like enjoying it. Like Too Hot to Handle. We watch Too Hot to Handle just because it's trash and we kind of love it. We also watched one recently called Couple of Trouble, which is pretty fun. It seemed at least a little bit more real than the other ones, but yeah, most of the time, like real world, Jersey Shore can go to straight hell. TMZ can go to the bottom basement of hell where the septic tank is and bathe in that. But yeah, I Gotcha TV. I hate that. But other things like say like World's Dumbest is a lot of fun. So it varies, but if there is a genre I dislike, it's reality TV. Are you a film buff? Are you a film buff? Absolutely. I like to think I am. That enjoyed the classic golden age of Hollywood, or more of a modern film buff? I am both. There are many. I like, obviously, I live in the modern era, so those are the movies I'm watching. I grew up in the 90s, so I grew up on 80s and 70s films while the 90s were coming out. So, but if we're talking about like the golden age of cinema between like say the 50s going into the 70s, there's plenty of films in that era I like. Every year we used to watch White Christmas as our family tradition. Ever since my mom passed, can't do it anymore, but love that film. A lot of the early Bond films with Sean Connery came out in the 60s, so I'm a big fan of that. The Great Train Robbery, another Sean Connery film. I think that's a little later, but still, it's a good film. We just watched 10 Little Indians, the original, like one of the original versions, so good movie there. So yeah, it's definitely a film where now I haven't watched a huge amount from that era, keep that in mind, but the original, like there's a lot of great sci-fi films that came out from there, so there's a lot of films in the classic old age cinema that I do like. Do you think, number 4, do you think Cosmic Entity from Marvel Universe generally more powerful than what the Dragon Ball universe has to offer? I'm assuming you meant entities when you said that. So like Galactus, Infinity, Eternity, the Void, Oblivion, Living Triangle, those individuals. Yes, actually I do. Although, if you're talking about, say, the beings, like the highest tier being, like Zeno and the Grand Priest and all them, they can compete with some of the upper tier Marvel characters, but there are characters that can literally threaten the multiverse just with their fight alone. Zeno can wipe out a multiverse, no problem. He clearly exists outside the multiverse. But if we're talking about like top tier characters, generally speaking, the Marvel Cosmic Entities I think are more stronger than Dragon Ball ones. Number 5, do you think this is better? Sorry, what do you think is the better mastermind and planner? Sosuke Aizen, Madara Uchiha, Black Zetsu, Johann Lieberman, I do know who that is. Light Yagami and Ai Magais. I don't know who that last one is, so I can't answer to that one. I will say this. Johann is limited by the fact that he's in the real world, and it's more that he's just a psychopath more than anything else. Madara is actually not that good. His plan didn't work. Neither Black Zetsu's or his plan worked. Light got away with it for a long time, and to be fair, so did Black Zetsu as well. Because Black Zetsu was playing 3D chess, but honestly, I'm gonna go Aizen. Like Aizen, like the being goes, it was all part of Aizen's plan. But no, legit, I'm gonna go Aizen because he nearly succeeded. If it wasn't for the main protagonist, he would have succeeded at getting to the Soul Palace, and then he would have to deal with that. But he had been tricking people for centuries. And then every time they thought he was one up, he had one up them. He had already beaten them to the punch. Madara more kind of lucked out because there was no guarantee he was getting resurrected. Black Zetsu also was kind of just influencing Madara a little bit in Obito, but was really just kind of hoping for things to go there. Like a lot of these guys were relying on hope. Light also was relying a lot on luck too. Aizen had a lot more confidence in any of them and got like results done. Again, he didn't succeed, but he did still ultimately become immortal, so he kind of became a Soul King in some way. So I'd probably go Aizen. He also has the benefit of being the oldest one here, so he's been doing it for a while. Number 6, if Goku went to the Soul Society instead of King Kai's, would he still be as strong as he was in canon, or become even stronger? Considering all the powerful Soul Reapers such as Kenpachi, Unohana, and Yamamoto, I think Goku should be able to reach the Frieza Saga power level counterpart in canon at the Saiyan Saga, all with all the varying opponents. But I would like to hear your thoughts. So Ryatsu and Ki kind of are the same thing in some ways. They are at least related in concept, so it's a little difficult to be sure about that. Also, this isn't like martial arts training. Goku, now that being said, Goku can learn anything. Him learning Keto, for example, that'd be very advantageous. But don't forget, he'd also only be there for about a year. So it also depends on if someone would be willing to train. And then who is training him? Do they give him a Zanpakuto? And do I get to implement my Goku Zanpakuto into a video? I don't know. I honestly don't think first off, even if he was stronger, I don't think it'd be by much. He would not be at the Saiyans of the Frieza saga level. I don't see that happening. Just because of the yeah, there's strong opponents there to be sure, but if we're also going to compare Saiyan Saga Goku, or actually, you're not comparing Saiyan Saga Goku, you're comparing Raditz Goku. Raditz Goku's going to get his shit kicked in by most of the Gotei 13. Because all the captains, when you in terms of scaling, are roughly on a planetary or at least high continental level. Now, granted, Goku theoretically can blow up a planet even in the Rad Saga, but that's like all of its power put into it. Whereas the casual heavy hitters of the Soul Society would be able to wreck his shop. So at least at that point in the series. So yeah. And then who would win? Again, I wrote this down already, but Iron Man and War Machine versus Android 17 and 18. Oh, see, the problem is it comes down to ease of how destructive you are. War Machine, and particularly Iron Man, can just be very destructive, and Iron Man could destroy the planet if you wanted to with like Soul's Hammer. But 18 and 17 can do that with no difficulty. So, and they can absorb energy. So I would actually go 17 and 18. And they got infinite energy. So they don't tire out. Finally, could Omni-Man solo the One Punch universe? He could run the gauntlet. It's once you get to Cosmic Garo and Saitama, and we haven't met God yet. We haven't truly seen God yet, so we don't know what he's capable of. But it's once you get to those guys that the question really comes into play. We know that Saitama is... My answer to that would probably be no, because of the level of power we saw in their fight where they literally just wiped out stars and basically wiped out whole solar systems. I would say no. Omni-Man is not a solar system. And I mean, that's multi-solar system, possibly low galactic level tier. Omni-Man is powerful. He's a planet buster. He might even be a star buster, but he's not a solar system buster in the sense that one punch won't literally wipe out a solar system. One Punch with Saitama can do that. So, no, he can't solo the One Punch first. He can go pretty far, though. King Shadow just says, awesome. Thank you. Dennis Servin comes in with 6, as well as some comments. Congrats on 1,200, 200-ish subscribers. The number is slowly rising, but steadily, and you deserve it. Thank you for that. Before I give you questions, I just need to mention how awesome I think your new edits to your videos are. Thank you. And I wouldn't go to call them edits. It's just me kind of working with OBS with what I have. But thank you. I never really asked for anything extra. Even when it was just a webcam of you in the video. The videos were entertaining. And the what ifs, I appreciate. Were entertaining and at my attention. But now with your various pictures for each of what if, your Yu-Gi-Oh cards on display in Yu-Gi-Oh, which I really need to do that at least for the last video for that series. I kind of fell off a little bit. I just appreciate your dedication a lot. It's super fun to see. As I said, it's not needed for our great content, but I definitely appreciate your effort in upgrading your videos. Awesome work, man, and keep it up. Why, thank you. I appreciate the nice compliment. Now for 1 to 6. What is your favorite Dark Digivolution, like Skull Graham one? It's Mega. I think it's called Megirjamon. The one that is the Dark Digivolution for Guiomon. It was one of the dragons, dragon, 4 dragons. That one, I like that one. What's your favorite type of video to do, like what ifs, who would win, so forth and so on? My favorite videos to do, it depends on the subject with the what if. But what ifs generally are really good. I mean, I like all my videos. Pokemon videos are fun, though. I like doing the Pokemon video a lot. And oddly enough, my box office videos. I actually really enjoy talking about the box office. Any European country you want to visit? Have visited, like Sweden and Germany. Have never been to Europe. Don't really have any big plans to go anytime soon. But in terms of do I want to visit? Can't think of any place I'm actively wanting to visit, but I mean, Italy might be nice. Mediterranean would be cool too. Actually, Mediterranean might be up there, yeah. Because I prefer like being near water than anything else. Who is your favorite Hokage? Probably Minato. Although Kakashi I like a bit more than Minato because we have more time with him. So, and he became Hokage for a while. So I'd technically say Kakashi. But if we're talking about as Hokage, Minato. Who's your favorite character in Boruto? Well, I don't watch or read Boruto. I do keep track of it thanks to people like NC Hammer, Nick. So, of the people that I know of in Boruto right now, and have been in Boruto, maybe Kashin Koji, because he's just a Jiraiya clone. And I love Jiraiya. So maybe that. I don't really have a firm answer. You don't have to answer this if it's too personal, but do you want to have any kids? I think you'd be amazing dad. Well, thank you for that compliment. At this time in my life, no, I'm not looking to have any kids. If it's something that maybe down the road, either through, actual having my own kids or adoption, I might be open to it. It's one of those things that just changes when you ask me, but I'm open to the idea. I'm not in a place in my life where I could even afford to have a kid because kids are expensive. But no, I wouldn't be against the idea of kids. Thank you so much for all the joy you bring to your videos. Well, thank you for that. It's inspiring and exactly what one needs after living through life's hardships. Yeah, sometimes you just need some levity and something to enjoy. You're definitely one of the best users out there still. Well, I thank you for the kind words. I wouldn't say I'm the best, but I just try to do the best I can. And I'm happy to see you've been a part of your channel for a long time, as I have. Or happy to have been a part of your channel for as long as I have. I wish you and your loved ones an absolute best. Now I'm looking forward to seeing more of the new early Kurama What Ifs. I did just record that video. It'll be up because I recorded all my videos for today, and I just recorded that one before doing this one. And all your other content, gonna be awesome. Clockwork Highlander for the win. Heck yeah. Well, thank you for the kind words, and I hope you can keep enjoying the content I make. All right then, JRC asks 1 of 8. You have 5 Pokemon questions, 3 Yu-Gi-Oh questions. Sorry if I'm late, but hey, look, you got it here before the big words. You got it here before the Q&A, so that's the important thing. So, recently you did a video on Pokemon that needed to be made. I find the lack of shark-based Pokemon disturbing. I know, it's the very Darth Vader of us. But no, seriously, what the hell? Let's say Game Freak came to you and told you that you could be the champion of a new region. You get to design 6 Pokemon you use. What animals would you base the Pokemon off of? First off, it's going to depend. It depends completely on where the region takes place. Without knowing where the region takes place, I couldn't necessarily answer. If we're going with the theories right now, that's either the Netherlands or Australia. I personally would like Australia more, so I'll go off with Australia. If I'm designing 6 Pokemon, being the regional champion means I should take notes, Gita, have the pseudo legendary of the region on my team. And I think I would also have one of the starters. I would want to design a fire snake Pokemon for a starter. I think we're overdue. We need another snake Pokemon too. That's probably something I'll bring up at another time. But we need our snake Pokemon. But a fire snake Pokemon for a starter. For the sharks, there's so many out there. If we're going by Australia, I could either go white shark, great way, but that's an obvious answer. I think though I might do a Wobbegong shark. If you've ever seen a Wobbegong shark, they can camouflage like groupers and stuff. They literally just look like rags, and they have like this camouflage pattern. It's really cool. So something based off like a Wobbegong. So I maybe would make that like a grass water type shark. That'd be pretty cool. Then if we're still going by okay, so there's the extinct, I think it's called Megatherium or something like that. I might be off on the name, but it's a giant monster lizard. I could make that a fossil Pokemon and make it like a rock poison type. I'd do that. Then I'd make another crocodile Pokemon. We haven't had a crocodile Pokemon. Oh no, we actually just had one. And oh, you know what I do? I do a regional Sandile. I would make it a water dragon type because saltwater crocodiles own your ass. We are one of the few. They're one of the few animals that looks at us and goes, "Ooh, food," like legit. So I do a water dragon saltwater crocodile Pokemon. Then I would do something a Sandile, like a crocodile. Then I would probably, I have to think on this now. There's some cool Pokemon some cool animals in Australia. You know what? I'd have something cute, like a sugar glider. even though it's Papua New, oh, and you know what, include New Zealand and Papua New Guinea in here too, because I think that should be included there. So I'd have like a sugar glider type Pokemon, cute thing. Be a flying ground type, I'd say, because technically speaking, Emolga is based off a flying scroll, but a sugar glider is adorable. And then to round it all off, I'd have a fighting steel type cassowary. Beast Mocha. In fact, I always had an idea for like a start, and if I ever decided to talk about the starters again, an idea for a starter line based off the Kiwi. The idea is you start with a grass type Kiwi, solely grass. You could either go into an Emu and then go into like a grass ground or a grass rock type for a Moa. Or you do a Kiwi into a little like minor, smaller Emu into a steel grass cassowary. That would be cool. But I do like a steel fighting cassowary in this case. So yeah, those would be what I would design if I designed my regional champion team for Australia, if it were Australia. Number 2, what would you have for your Hoenn champion team if I was the champion and I could use introduced evolutions like Roserade? I would, like I said, being a champion, I'd have one of the pseudos. I'd have Metagross. Personally, I think it's better than Salamence. But I would have Flygon. I love Flygon. I also would have Milotic. Love Milotic. I had Absol on the team because I would be a Cynthia or I'd be a Cynthia type or a Leon. Basically, someone who's got all the typings, not one specific type. But anyway, so yeah, where was I? I go Metagross, I go Flygon, I go Milotic, I'd go Absol. I would. Do I want to use one of the fossil Pokemon? Since I could have any Pokemon throughout the other regions, at least as long as they're native to Hoenn. After that, see, that's where it gets a little bit more tricky. Skarmory, because Skarmory's not Skarmory. I already got a Steel type. Torkoal. I'd want to have Torkoal. I love Torkoal. And after that, it gets a little tricky because I already got Steel type, so I wouldn't want to put Aggron on the team. There really actually aren't a lot of cross-gen evolutions in that, but if we're using cross-gen evolutions, I can't remember if Mankey's available in the game. Because if Mankey is available in the game, I would take Annihilape. But if Mankey's not available, then I would probably lean more towards... Man, it's tough. It's a tough call. I don't have an electric type on the team. Hold on, let me think about that for a second, because electric's got some good coverage. Any electric types in the gen that I really like that I could get, period, end of story? Not really. And I'm not a big well, you know what? Magnezone. Throw Magnezone in there. So there's that. Finally, do you like regional variant Pokemon? If so, are there any Pokemon that you'd like to get one? Well, I just brought up Sandile as the concept of a saltwater dragon water crocodile Pokemon. But yes, I actually like regional variants. I don't like Convergent Evolution, though. That one I felt was just regional variants slapping a different name on there. That's all it is. But I do like regional variants because I like it as an extra way to give some new love to old Pokemon and fill out the decks when there were so. But now that we're over 1,000, it's kind of irrelevant for this. About filling out the decks, slowing down, getting to 1,000. So I do like them. Any Mon I think need to get regional variants. If I were to think of one Mon from each generation real quick, Lapras definitely could would benefit from regional variant. Just be a cool idea. Then I might do a regional variant Heracross. That could be fun. Notice so far they're all just non-evolving ones. A regional Tropius. That'd be fun. A regional... What Gen 4 Pokemon would I like to see a regional variant on? Regional Shellos and Gastrodon could be fun. Then, oh god, the amount of Gen 5 Pokemon. Like I said, Sandile I'm going to see regional variants for. Then Gen 6. That's a good question. Gen 6 doesn't have a lot to choose from with that. Or regional Honedge. Because there's different weapons you could do with that. And therefore do different types. A regional Mimikyu could be fun. Like, is it mimicking a different Pokemon? Maybe. A regional call. A regional rock and roll line could be interesting too, like different rocks, for example, it's taking the form of. And then if we're talking about Paldea real quick, a regional. Paldea is so new is the problem, so I have a little trouble thinking on that real quick. Like a Pokemon that could literally benefit from the type change, or just has the potential to type change. Oh, and regional Applin too. I should know that because being in different fruits could do different things or different items. A regional. I'm trying to think of all the Gen 9 Pokemon off the top of my head here. Nakastackle, maybe different minerals. I don't know. That one, yeah. All right. So, what are my top 3 favorite Pokemon of all time? Couldn't tell you that. Like, I can tell you my favorite Pokemon of each type, but that's going to take forever. I couldn't tell you my 3 favorite Pokemon. I'll just tell you some of my favorites. One of my favorite water Pokemon, Milotic. One of my favorite bug Pokemon, Volcarona. One of my favorite dragon Pokemon would be probably. Oh, that's a good question. Haven't thought about that one in a while. One of my Haxorus would be one of my favorite dragons. So there's 3 right there. Then what are my 3 favorite regions? Hoenn's my favorite region. Unova would be my second favorite region. And this might get me a little crucified here. I actually like Galar a lot. It's looking back, I've just started playing my Shield copy of Shield again, and while I think Scarlet and Violet are the better put together games, even though they got a lot of glitches, I think actually Galar looks better. I mean, the design, you can actually still go into multiple houses. There's still a lot of vibrance and color in there. Paldea, for all they were doing, really seems a lot of like desaturated in many ways, not just color-wise, but like as a region. There are definitely some cool locations and good, like some towns look good, but overall, it looks too clean. I think that's kind of the problem. It looks a little too clean. I need a little bit more grunge in my Pokemon games. Anyway, number 6. What if you were a duelist in Yu-Gi-Oh? What deck type would you use? It would all depend on what game, which series I'm in. If we're talking about GX Duel Monsters, someone asked this previously, and I mentioned it in real life. I play like a hodgepodge deck of just a bunch of stuff and hope it works. But if we're talking about GX, I did ultimately come to the idea of either being a gladiator beast to have another contact fusion style, like so if like me dueling Jaden, he can do it too. It's like you're not the only one, Jaden. Or being an alien duelist. That would be kind of cool because the aliens need a little bit of love, and you could have some anime exclusive cards to help out the duel. So yeah, I'd go one of those. What are your top 3 favorite monster cards? Oh God. Oh God. Jinzo. Wait a minute. Jinzo would be on there. I couldn't give this name anywhere else. I'll give you the 3. Jinzo's on there. Red Eyes Red Eyes Metal Darkness Dragon. Goat and Dragon decks. And let's see here. Is there a card that did? You know what? I'm not gonna lie. Mataza the Zapper, an upgraded Hayabusa Knight, did what you put an axe in the spear thing. That's a 23/23 attack that can attack twice. That's over half your opponent's life gone if it gets a clean shot in. So yeah, I'd probably go that. And then one of my top 3 favorite spells are traps. Okay, that one I can do a lot easier because I actually do have my number 1 favorite spell. But in no particular order except for number 1, Raigeki, the classic goat card. Pot of Greed, classic goat card. Mirror Force, first trap card, first ultra rare I ever pulled. Unfortunately, it got stolen. My deck got stolen long ago, and I had to. Eventually got another Mirror Force. It's not the original. It was the original ultra rare Mirror Force. Love Mirror Force. All right then, and that's all I got this time. Keep up the good work, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your vacation. If it hasn't ended yet, it has ended sadly, but I did enjoy the rest of it. All right, let's see here. Everyone's just giving me these long lists. James Riley, what shows, movies, games, books, and YouTube series that you watch / play can cross over and make 100% sense without doing mental gymnastics? Most anime, it's not that hard to do. Like the mental gymnastics aren't that hard. I've already thought of concepts for them. Books, like book characters, that's a little harder. Let me put it this way. One of the complaints I have had in the past, particularly from one particular viewer, is the idea of not making, when I insert a character into a series, not making them cohesive to the world they're in, instead of just throwing them with the powers they have into that world. But sometimes it just depends on the mood I'm in, honestly. Do I want to do it where they've been created for that world, or do I want to do it where they somehow exist with their abilities in that world, as they are? It just kind of depends on my mood. But I mean, there's a lot of series I can do it with. Most, like I said, most anime is not that, or manga is not that difficult. Most cartoons actually aren't that difficult either. What becomes a problem is when you're doing two IPs that don't have any relation. Again, going back to that Karen Cooper Lord Zed thing, that one took a lot of mental gymnastics to really do, because there isn't any really cohesion with those two worlds. So yeah, what ifs like crossovers like that are particularly difficult to do. So that'd be my answer. Darth Vader asks, hello, it's my first time doing, and I really enjoy your content. Sorry, I'm not going to do it for that. Just your Darth Vader, so I had to do it. And now here comes my questions. If the Galactic Empire were to replace Frieza from the beginning of the series, would the world of Dragon Ball Z be in the better hands or the worse off? The initial answer would actually be better off, because those characters could not match the super powered Dragon Ball characters. But if we're talking about from the beginning of the series, I actually think they'd be worse off, because they wouldn't be destroying planets. I mean, they'd have the Death Star, obviously, but they wouldn't be destroying planets. The Saiyans, as strong as they are, Darth Vader, when he's going all out using the Force, could stop him with telekinesis alone. So if they found the Saiyans a threat, then yes, then they might destroy the planet and then send Goku off. But because they're nowhere near as strong as, say, Frieza is, who can literally just wipe out a planet on his own, not with a machine, I actually think the Dragon Ball universe is going to be in a worse state, because even if they beat the Empire, Gero shows up and annihilates those characters because they just don't have the strength to combat them anymore. So I'd actually say worse off. Number 2, who do you think inspires hope the best? Superman, Goku, Captain America, or All Might? I'm taking Goku out of the equation right now. He does not inspire hope that much. He's too self-centered, and his cause too many problems to inspire hope. But after that, it gets a little bit trickier. Captain America is a beacon for hope, but he's also gone rogue and made some bad decisions. So I don't think I would say that he's really a beacon of hope. So that means, at least in the same sense, All Might and Superman are really who it comes down to. And while Superman is definitely a beacon of peace, a beacon of hope, and all that, there's still people who are scared shitless of him. And normal people, not just Lex Luthor. Whereas, except for villains, everyone loved All Might. And even in his last moments, last moments is All Might, and even fighting One for All again that last go-ahead, he was still a beacon of peace and beacon of hope. His statue was he's still, even after his retirement, still inspired people. Ironically, I think All Might is a little bit better of a symbol of hope than Superman is. But Superman is still Superman's kind of the GOAT overall when it comes to doing something like that. So I will still say that. What was the first Pokemon game that introduced you to the series? Was it Silver, or was it Pokemon Snap or Stadium? I want to say it was Gold and Silver, but I know we had Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 as kids, and Pokemon Snap. So it was one of those. My first handheld, my first Game Boy one was Silver. Number 3, what were your first Pokemon game? Number 4, who do you think would actually win the Clone Wars without the involvement of Sidious? Oh, it would be the Jedi. It'd be the Jedi. The Jedi would have won. Without Sidious pulling the strings, the Jedi as a unit were more powerful than most of the other individuals fighting in the Clone Wars. So it would be the Jedi. 5, are you in the camp that you believe the third Hokage manipulated Naruto into becoming Hokage and an asset of the Leaf, or do you believe that the relationship was truly genuine? I believe it was truly genuine. I do not buy into the manipulative Sarutobi aspects. I do not buy into that belief, because first off, there's little evidence to suggest he was that kind of malice of a person. That's just people kind of throwing headcanon and fan theories in there. But if that were the case, it really would hurt his character, actually. But the third, I think really it was just the third was negligent with Naruto, sadly, when it comes to a lot of the care for him, sadly, because he was already Hokage before he retired. So he didn't want to be Hokage again. Let's see. Oh, we're almost at an hour, so we're doing a pretty good on time. So yeah, I believe it was genuine. I don't believe the manipulation stuff. Number 6. Do you think the village stole Naruto's inheritance? No. Since both parents were resurrected shinobis, they should have had enough money for savings. Here's the problem with that theory. No one knew Naruto was the son of the fourth in Kushina, except for a very close-knit group of people. And yeah, like no one knew who his parentage was, including most of the higher ups. Like Danzo, I think knew. But I actually don't know. I don't know if Zara said. We know the third knew. We know Kakashi knew. What else? Those are the only people we actually have confirmed knew, unless the light novels have said something. So because of that, so yes, technically, did they take his inheritance? Did they reclaim his inheritance or reclaim the money that they had? Probably. Did they steal it? No, because they had no idea. So yeah, I don't think they stole it. They probably just took it back because they didn't know. Would you that being okay? So, but that being said, the third and Kakashi knew. You would think that they would have kept Naruto. They maybe would have kept it safe. But then they'd have to keep it. They'd have to explain why they have to keep it safe. So I think, unfortunately, they had to give it up to keep Naruto's identity safe, and then Danzo screwed up that plan anyway. So yeah. Number 7. Which would you rather go back in time? What would you rather do? Go back in time to the 80s with all the knowledge of the future, or travel 3,000 years into the future and see where all the advancements we made? 3,000 years in the future. Because frankly, my knowledge is not that great. Like, I couldn't tell you who won certain super rewarding events or super ball games or whatever. So I couldn't like bet on sports or anything like that. I can't affect politics. I'm not going to go all the way out to Washington and do that. So no, I'd rather see the advancement, or if we just ended up killing ourselves. So, and because I'm not going to be here in 3,000 years, so there you go. Either way. Number 8. Could Aang convince Pain to stop his form of justice? Could Aang convince Pain to stop his form off justice? I'm assuming you meant of justice. Probably not. Because Aang was not able to relate, it would not be able to relate to Nagato on that personal level that Naruto did, and therefore convinced him of that. So I don't think he could. No. Lethal Injection asks 1 of 3. Would you rather have Naruto's chakra level and raw stats, or Itachi's skill, intelligence, and moveset? Second, skill, intelligence, and moveset. Raw chakra level and stats is great, but the skill to use it is still important. Skills, intelligence, and moveset. As long as I'm not using the Mangekyo, I don't have to use the Mangekyo. I can keep my eyesight. So, yeah, I'll take that. 2, any predictions on the new Dragon Ball show? If you're talking about the ones where they turn into kids, I have no thoughts on that. I have no interest in that. Because, that's not what people freaking want. So, yeah. And then number 3, how are you feeling? Is life treating you good, brother? It's treating me all right. I mean, I can't complain about too much. There's certain things that could maybe, be like, oh, this is happening. But, it's just the life kind of going. Much respect and love. Take it easy. Thanks very much. Noble Chief asks 5 questions. 1, have you played any Gears of War games? Have I ever played any Gears of War games? No, I have not. 2, what's your thoughts on the no killing rule for some heroes to deal with? I think it's a great character. What's the best way to put it? I think it's good to define the character and but you have to establish why they don't kill. You just can't say I don't kill. That's why the Superman's next step kind of falters in Man of Steel. They never established that it's a big problem that he kills, or that he didn't want to kill. But I think the no killing rule works as that kind of bar to measure a hero with, that, so that when they do kill, something has happened, something bad has happened. So yeah. So then number 3. What's your dream Pokemon team roster? Oh, I couldn't tell you that. I could not tell you that. There's too many out there. I can tell you my favorites. My favorites wouldn't necessarily be my dream, because there are better Pokemon than my favorites out there. So, yeah, sorry about that. What's your favorite dual-type Pokemon? Okay. Favorite dual type? Yeah, my favorite dual-type Pokemon? I can tell you what my favorite dual typing is, or at least among like my 3 ones: Ghost Fighting, Dragon and Ice, Water Fire. So those would be like my 3 favorite dual typings. And then number 5, what if Batman had a Sinister Six team, which villains would it be? I mean, technically, this Rogues Gallery have all teamed up before anyway. His Sinister Six team, real quick, would be Clayface, the Joker, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Penguin, and Two-Face. That'd be a Sinister Six team. Well, but if you want to say they have superpowers, hold on then. It would actually be Clayface, Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, Firefly, Killer Croc, and Scarecrow. That would be it. Diego Lorente. What's your favorite food? Seafood. Seafood would probably be my favorite food. I love seafood. Love it. Crab, lobster, doesn't matter. I have never met seafood except for sushi, which I'm not a huge fan of sushi. I've grown a little bit better on it, but not much. Togera Godzilla asked 3 questions. If you were stranded on an island and you brought 3 movies, 3 TV shows, and 3 video games to play, what would they be? 3 movies? Just to think real quick here. Boondock Saints, Dodgeball. That's just a rewatchable film. I love Dodgeball. And then I would probably go the second Deadpool movie. I'd go second Deadpool. And then 3 TV shows. House. I'd probably bring all House, Bleach, and House MD. And that next one. And then probably like the discography of 2.5 Men up to Charlie Sheen. Again, a little bit of comedy, a little drama with comedy in it, and then anime. And then 3 video games, honestly, Dark Cloud 2, and then I'd have a handheld Pokemon game. Whatever. Doesn't really matter which one, frankly. Maybe Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. Maybe that one. So there you go. Those would be your answer there. 2, what are movies that you used to hate and now like, and films I used to like but now hate? Films that I used to hate and now love. Honestly, not many. There are not many films that I generally hated and now love because I don't go back to them. But films that I liked but now hate? Master of Disguise. I wouldn't say I hate Master of Disguise, but I don't like it anymore. I used to love it. Now I hate it. Now I really don't like it. There are films that have soured on me in time. That is actually a very true statement. Like films that I thought weren't bad, but as I've sat with them, I really came to dislike them. Yeah, I couldn't think of any others off the top of my head, but definitely Master of Disguise with Dana Carvey. Number 3, have you ever played PS2 game called War of the Monsters? Fun monster fighting game. Favorite is Togera, the Godzilla-like monster. No, I have not, unfortunately. I think I have played, maybe I did. And I think I played some types of games like that, but I can't remember if that was it. All right, then. Clark Kent, 1 of 9. Here we go. All right, thanks for the quality content. Now time for your questions. Well, you're welcome. Would the Justice League be able to stop Thanos? Yes. Even though I think Thanos still would probably beat Superman in a fight, unless Superman's going all out. Between the Flash being able to move through time, Wonder Woman, Superman, like if you're talking about the whole Justice League, then yes, I still think they'd beat Thanos. Would the Avengers be able to defeat Darkseid? That's a trickier one. Because your heavy hitters on that depends. Well, it all depends on which version of the Avengers you're talking about. Because there's definitely individuals on the team who got the power to do it. Thor could definitely go toe to toe. Iron Man's suit could definitely help. Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel. It all depends on which version of the Avengers you're talking about. So, depending on the version, yes. 3, if the Incredible Hulk raised Goku, do you think Goku would be able to control Cesaro better? Also, I realize this, but Hulk would be able to teach Goku in controlling his anger, and Bruce would be able to teach him in science. Maybe? To be fair, it would be Bruce teaching him anger control, not Hulk. Because Hulk doesn't care about that. Hulk wants to be out. But, yeah, maybe he'd be able to control Cesaro better. 4, do you think Kenpachi enjoys fighting more, say, than Goku or Vegeta, or would be about the same? Yes, because it's a different type of enjoyment. Goku and Gogeta enjoy sportsman-like fighting, but they don't enjoy fights to the death. That's not what they love. Now, granted, Goku's put his universe line for his level of fighting, so you can make that argument for Goku. But Kenpachi, the type of fight Kenpachi loves is literally death fights, death matches. That's what Kenpachi loves. And yeah, so I would say yes, he enjoys fighting more than Goku and Vegeta, but it's because it's a different type of love and a different type of fighting he loves. And the Hidden Leaf if the Hidden Leaf didn't have Danzo, would the Leaf still flourish? And I was talking about all the actions talking about all the actions he would have been involved in, if I think is what you meant, if he wasn't there. Yes, because Danzo's actions actually hurt the Leaf, really. When you really break it down, his actions hurt the Leaf. It is, if you go to my video, you can look at the playlist, top 10 dumbest Naruto moments in Naruto, or dumbest things in Naruto. I ranked his killing the Toad in the Pain invasion of Konoha as supremely dumb and self-centered. Because it was all about him. That's what it was about. It was all about him and what he could do for the village. So no, yeah, the village would have still flourished without him. Absolutely. Okay, here's something I brought up earlier. Number 6, why do you dislike Superman so much? I don't want to sound like a dick by asking, but Superman is one of the most underrated heroes. No, he's not. Have you ever seen Superman comics where Superman usually gets manhandled in some way or others? Okay, so first and foremost, yes, I dislike Superman. I have said before I hate Superman, or I really don't like him. I have softened on Superman as time's gone on because I know what Superman is supposed to represent. And in some ways, he does it very well. He's supposed to represent pinnacle of humanity and a beacon and a god among men, but who uses his powers for good. Never had that issue with him. I don't have an issue that he's kind of a Boy Scout, doesn't like killing. Don't have an issue with that. My issue is the writing. Yes, Superman does fight individuals who beat on him all the time. But the problem is when you're writing Superman, you write a character who's inherently so overpowered because he's holding back. But if he wasn't holding back, he'd be able to save the day no matter what. That's what you and now I'm not saying that's 100% all the time, but you literally wrote him as someone who can't be erased from existence because he's so important to reality. Fuck off of that. No character should be the focal point of a universe like that. None. Because you are now literally just taking away weaknesses. Superman initially doesn't have any special resistance to magic, but he's literally so strong he can just power through most magic. So it's like, well, what's the point of even saying he doesn't have any resistance to magic? So his only real weakness is a glowing green rock that most people aren't going to have on call. So you have to keep making characters that are so OP that you keep making your universe so OP, but then Superman can still whack them in the face, and yet he can't handle he can't handle Livewire occasionally, or he can't handle this character occasionally. Screw that. That's the part. That's the part of Superman I don't like. That's the part of Superman I actively dislike and kind of hate, is that he is written as an overpowered character. And even if he's getting manhandled, there's no logical reason because of how you've written him that he should be getting manhandled. That's the problem I have with Superman. It's not his personality. I actually now grown to actually like him as a person, like what he's supposed to represent. I like that. It's the fact that you've basically written him as a god, know he's a god, could basically, but if he goes too hard, he might hurt someone. The universe, the reality is at stake. That's not up for debate. So you don't get to say, I don't want to use all my strength when your reality is at stake or when your planet's at stake. You just don't get that leeway from a writing perspective. You don't get to let someone beat on you and have your innocence and have loved ones threatened when you could stop it immediately, probably without killing someone. That's my problem with Superman. That is summed up. That is my problem with Superman. Happy? Okay, my voice is starting to go. I've been talking for a while. Number 7, would the SCP Foundation be able to contain the Justice League? Probably, actually. Now granted, they'd have to get a hold of them first. They'd have to be able to capture them. But assuming that they've been captured, this is assuming. If Batman could hold the Justice League, and if not Themyscirians, Hawkgirl people. Why am I blanking on our people's name? Either way, could hold them. All you need is Red Kryptonite to weaken Superman. or just standard kryptonite to awaken Superman. Batman's human. You can contain him without too much difficulty. Flash, you just need to be able to keep him from moving. Green Lantern, take his ring away. Wonder Woman, again, strong enough restraints. Martian Manhunter, you can use his phobia of fire and then use something to stop his phase shifting, all that. Cyborg, he's tech, so if you can hack him, you're good. So yes, in theory, they should be able to contain the Justice League. Would Omni-Man be able to solo all the heroes from One Punch Man? Up until you get to Saitama, yeah. All the other heroes, yeah, he'd be able to solo them. But One Punch Man, no, he would not be able to solo Saitama. Would the Ghost Rider's Panster work on Fuse Zamasu? Because he has a soul? Yes. Yes, he would. I think because he still has a soul. I'm pretty sure he does. Okay. Malcolm Oliver, 1 of 3. Would you rather be stranded on Monsterverse Skull Island, Fallout Vault, which vault? See it right there, which vault? Or in Gotham in one of their bad neighborhoods? Because you didn't specify the vault, I'll say Fallout, but if it's one of the bad vaults, I'll honestly take my chances in Gotham, thank you. I know how to fight, so if I get a scruff, I can fight. And, Batman's still around, so there's that. And just don't fuck with the Joker. Number 2, would you rather be known as the guy that started the zombie apocalypse or the person that caused the robot uprising? Oh, that you dirty SOB. So basically, I fucked everyone up regardless. Okay, how do I start the zombie apocalypse, though? Am I sick and I have, some mutation that causes it? Or am I, bitten by it, or get, sick, become a zombie, and then start it? Is that what you're saying? Because do I live? Do I get to see the apocalypse happen? And the uprising happen? Oh, that's a tough one. Because you know what? I'm going to go with the zombie apocalypse one. Because the zombie apocalypse one doesn't have to be my fault. The person who causes because yes, I might start it, but it might be just because I got sick and couldn't get better and I just became a zombie and bit someone. And but that's not my fault. That's not my fault. I cause it, but it's not my fault. Person who causes the robot uprising, that's going to be your fault. So I'd rather be the cause, but not the one at fault. So there's that. Number 3, would SCP-682, the unkillable reptile, be able to exterminate all the life in the DC universe? Possible. It'd be difficult. Once he gets to the higher ups like Superman, Darkseid, Lucifer, Morningstar, and the Presence. Okay, now you're talking about they're talking about guys who might be able to just erase his existence, but as far as I know, he might be able to resist that. But he's never encountered individuals like them. He becomes immune to something that doesn't kill him, and he can usually survive most things. But I don't know. I think he get pretty far, but I don't. But here's the thing: if the SCP Foundation can prevent him from doing that, I imagine DC, which has much more advanced technology, can also contain him. So I'm going to say no. The Master of Gaming asked 1 of 5. I have a couple questions for you. Why do you hate faith-based movies? Okay, I saw this question. I was waiting for it. So I have been harsh on faith-based movies in the past, but I should really clarify that. I don't inherently hate faith-based movies. I've never seen The Passion of Christ, but I don't hate on it. I do like the Ten Commandments and Prince of Egypt. I just like that version they did with Christian Bale a while back. I also don't hate movies where faith is the crux of a character. Hacksaw Ridge, that's an example where faith is a very big component of that character. But that movie is so freaking good. So I don't inherently hate movies about faith or faith-based films. I don't inherently hate stories about, from the Bible or anything like that. It's just not my taste or anything like that. I'm not big on preaching or anything like that, but I don't hate them. What I do hate, though, is the type of faith-based movies where people are saying you're wrong for not being this faith, that this faith is the right faith, and that, God is good and you need to believe in Jesus and all that. Freaking God's Not Dead, 1 and 2. Freaking war games. Oh, God. I'm going to teach you how to fight the right way. Are you nuts? You're literally nuts. Don't forget Jesus. People are always forgetting about Jesus. That's because not everyone's Christian and not everyone has to follow your religious ideals. And by the way, I have not seen a film like film studios for like Jewish faith or Muslim faith, Buddhist faith. Actually, no, Muslim faith or Hindi faith. I have seen Hindi, but that's still. Point being, those pure flicks is what I'm trying to get at. Pure flicks and that type of film, those are the faith-based films I absolutely loathe, because you're not talking about your faith. You're not trying to spread the positivity of your faith. You're trying to make your faith look better in the eyes of what you think are lesser ideologies and lesser faiths, and demonizing people for that. So yeah, like you make the atheist look like complete. And don't get me wrong, a lot of atheists actually are complete jackasses, but not every atheist is. And you're just like Kevin Sorbo in God's Not Dead, the original one. He's the teacher. It's like, God's not dead. God's dead, and we're gonna play the argument for it. And he gets the guy up there, and they have the debate, and he counters them or like confronts him in the hallway. And I've seen bits of the movie, so that's why I can comment on this. Same with Wargame. And he comes like, you ever embarrass me like that? And embarrass me like that in my class again, and you're out of here. Like, you invited him to the debate. Why are you making every freaking non-Christian person look like a complete asshat? Because you're so insecure about your damn faith that you got. See, this is what bothers me about religion. And it comes in, and particularly in America today. And I'm going off on a rant, but this is kind of tied to all this. This is what pisses me off. You have people who are of the faiths they're of, and who are comfortable with their faith, and don't try to preach it to you. Like, they love you for who you are. Mr. Rogers is the perfect effing example of that. Motherfucker was an OG badass of everything. And I believe he was a minister, if I'm not mistaken. He was religious, but he never tried to convert you. He just said, I love you for you. The guy who played the black actor who played the mailman on there once told a beautiful story in the, I never actually saw the documentary, but it's a beautiful documentary from what I understand. I saw the clip of it where he said, like, I'm gay. And it's like, look, I love you for who you are. And like, Mr. Rogers is the perfect example of how you represent your faith. You don't preach your faith. You just live your faith. And you respect people who may have a differing opinion, and they respect you back. That's what it is. But we have all these people nowadays who are so insecure about their own faith that they can't understand that with this. And then people say, we're a God-fearing, we're a country of God, we're a Christian country. No, we're not. We are a country where you can be Christian or Muslim or Jewish or Buddhist or whatever you want to be. But you don't have to be it. We have freedom of and from religion. And you're a zealot otherwise. You're an insecure zealot otherwise if you don't believe that. If you don't literally believe the actual facts that we are a country founded on the freedom of and from, you're a complete. And that's what, and I'm getting a little political now, but we're in Q&A, so I can get a little political. That's what bothers me about the right wing. I mean, many things bother me about the right wing, but one of the biggest things is the people who vote about, like, say, turning over Roe v. Wade, or fucking like go up to abortion clinics and protest and like life begins at conception. There's no scientific there's no scientific avenue for that. No, it's his faith. It's like God says this, or if you say you don't believe in science, okay. So God made that car for you? God made it so we could pasteurize that milk you're drinking? God gave us free will, and the free will we use to create and discover, which is science. And so while your faith says one thing, A, your faith is not the majority of beliefs, and B, you're not just hateful, you're stupid if you honestly think people are all actively killing children every day and doing it with a clean conscience. You're actively stupid. So that's why I don't like faith-based films very much. All right, so now I went on a rant on that. Okay. Number 2, do you think Deadpool and Wolverine will beat The Passion of Christ to become the highest grossing R-rated movie domestically? Yes. If the tracking holds for what it is now, they're conservatively estimating this, because I checked, by the way, the numbers when you brought this question up. Passion of the Christ is, I believe, at $380 some odd million, like 83, 86, something like that. Deadpool and Wolverine on just their opening weekend alone are tracking between 200 and 239, and that's conservative. Even if I lowball that to the lowest denominator of 200, or even let's say it comes under 190, you still got to factor in the weekend drop-offs. The massive amount is going to be making day per day per day per day. Like right now, as the next question you're going to have Inside Out 2 is doing. Oh, it's going to clear that easy. And I still believe it's going to be the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. So yeah, I believe it's going to beat that. Then you have, do you think Inside Out 2 and Despicable Me 4 will both be $1 billion worldwide? Inside Out 2, I think, is a foregone conclusion at this point. It's going to be $1 billion film. Hands down. No, we're about 250 away right now. We're only on like the 10th or 3rd day. Hands down, it's going to be $1 billion film. Despicable Me 2 definitely has the potential. It's also tracking for a big weekend, but it actually has a problem versus Inside Out 2, where Inside Out 2 is going to be out still. So those are directly competing for audiences. Could it do it? Yes. Will it do it? I couldn't say that one for certain. I still think it'll do very well, but I couldn't say that for certain. But Inside Out 2, I think it's a foregone conclusion. It's going to make $1 billion. All right, then. What is your least favorite movie of the year so far? Probably The Night Swim. Although I think there was another one when I looked through the scrolling that was pretty bad. That or Mean Girls. I'm going to be honest. Mean Girls really wasn't very good. But again, I was not the audience tailored to that, so take that for what it is. Probably Night Swim right now. And what's your favorite video that I've done? Oh, I've done too many, man. Yeah, I really couldn't tell you that. One single video, there's too many. I've done thousands of videos, so I couldn't tell you that. Luke Zilla, who would win in a death battle, or who would win? Deathclaw or Scorpius Rex? Fallout or Jurassic World Cretaceous? Answer in the Q&A or even make a video about it. Like I said, like I told you guys with the other video, it's going to be written down. Just give me my clear kind of answers. I had to find out who Deathclaw was. I'm going to go Deathclaw. Larger, more powerful, has a bit more going for it. Scorpius Rex, I believe, does have some venom, but I think in terms of ferocity, Deathclaw is going to win. Scorpius Rex also has some built-in health issues. King of Kelper, who is your favorite and least favorite Dragon Ball character? Favorite Dragon Ball character? Beerus, probably. Least favorite Dragon Ball character? Oh God. I'm gonna be honest. It's probably Satan, Hercule Satan. Don't get me wrong. I don't inherently hate any Dragon Ball characters. But you know what? I'm gonna take it back. It's gonna be Shin. I don't like Shin much. He's doesn't know how to get shit done. And he nearly got him and Beerus scared when we went to go fight Boo. So yeah, I'll go Shin actually. Mike Piston asks, please cover Universal Monster Hammer Monster composites versus slashers. Well, okay, Mike, you've given me this before. I'll cover it, but you do realize that I always got to re-emphasize this. Constantly giving me the same suggestion over and over and over again is not going to make the suggestion come any quicker. It's just not. By the way, I don't know if you want me to composite all the monsters into like one super monster and all the killers into one super killer, or do it like individually. Because you said composites, so I'm guessing you want like a super being. I guess. But point being, yeah, it's not going to make it come any faster, man. And believe me, people always say, well, how do I know if you don't respond? So how do I know? I can't respond to every single person. I just can't do that. Because then it becomes a forced habit. And then I miss someone, they're going to ask, why didn't you respond? I can't do that. If people have questions, that's one thing, but I can't do that for like requests. But believe me when I say I see every request. So it gets, yeah. If you're asking me my immediate take, because you're talking about hammer monsters, I'm actually going to go the slashers, because most of if we're talking about hammer horror, most of the monsters aren't that strong compared to some other counterparts. And Freddy Krueger alone and Jason are going to be difficult for a lot of them to put down. So I'm actually going to go the slashers right now. Let's see here. Kennereth the Demon. I enjoy Naruto What Ifs, and my friend and I are debating it as well. What tail beast do you think is the most versatile and adaptable, etc., etc.? Versatile and adaptable? Probably Son Goku. But the thing is, they all have their niche. Is the thing. I mean, I guess it's probably Shukaku or actually Kurama, because they're the ones who spent the most time with humans. Kurama and Shukaku both. Shukaku willingly lives in the tea kettle, and Kurama, adapted to humans pretty well. So yeah, I'd say one of those guys. But the problem is you got to define versatile and adaptable. They all have their own niche ability. Not quite sure what the Chome's is, Seven Tails, but still. Rank Riley's main emotions for Inside Out, from my least favorite to favorite. Believe it or not, sadness, anger, joy, fear, and disgust. Joy kind of comes off as a pseudo antagonist at points. Like it's just overly controlling. Joy is the one I think a lot of people can really empathize with and really appreciate. So I'll go with joy. I'll go sadness. And anger is Lewis Black, so I just love him. But I saw Lewis Black live once. It was great. But yeah, sadness, anger, joy, fear, disgust. Because disgust literally as an emotion is just not something I want to deal with. Horrible drawer. How do you personally define magic? For example, a person weak to, or immune to magic. How do you determine a person's if person A is weak to magic, how do you determine if person B's powers will work on him? Is the force, chakra, or spirit neutral energy magic? So the way when I saw that, it's a good question. The way I personally define magic is an energy that is not naturally attained somehow. So what do I mean by that? So for example, the examples you use: spirit, energy, chakra, and force. All of them, two of them come naturally from in your body, like ki, life force. And the force is an energy field surrounded by all things. It's something that occurs naturally. Now in Star Wars there is actually Sith magic. There is magic involving the force, but the force itself is not magical. It's got a mysticism about it, or at least it did, but it's not magical. However, with something like, say, Doctor Strange, for a perfect example here, they're drawing on energies from alternate dimensions and converting it into what they call spells. So the idea is you can be in tune naturally to magic, but magic is something that it's an energy that is not natural. Like you don't have. I mean, don't get me wrong. They've defined magical energies as natural things in certain animes. So it depends on really how you define it within your world. Personally, it should be able to do something more than just, say, fire off energy or healing. You should be able to, for example, summon a black hole, turn energy attack into butterflies, make multiple copies. Magic essentially is whatever energy is allowing you to do more than just the basics. And I mean, there's basic magic to be certain, like a basic magical energy attack, but that's just an attack that you can do and still use magical energies. But when you can go beyond that and do just about anything, however you do it, then I think it works. That's how I would define it anyway. What's your favorite mythology? I already went over this, but it's between either Egyptian or Greek, though I do like Gaelic and Irish mythology as well. And Norse mythology. Norse mythology. My throat's starting to go pretty bad, but we're almost done. Would you rather have a symbiote or a galvanic mechamorph? So the thing is, the symbiote's a parasite. It's literally a symbiotic parasite. It lives off you, but it helps you as well, hopefully. But you're saying a galvanic mechamorph as, like, say, a friend, partner who can help me out? Like, I'd take the mechamorph any day. Because I can't guarantee a symbiote would be, me and a symbiote would be good. If I'm on good terms with the symbiote, I'd still take the galvanic mechamorph, because I would I'd use them to upgrade my computer, get the viruses off, all that, optimize this thing out the yin yang. I'd use it to help fix my car. Like, I do a lot of stuff with the galvanic mechamorph, or be able to turn into one, I guess is the better way to put it. All right, Wade Wilson, 1 of 10. Oh God, here we go. Congratulations on your milestone and the milestones you have achieved. Thank you. Now here are my questions. What determined your what if to be multi-part or one shot? Honestly, I look at the subject matter, and I stop and ask myself, how much story do I get out of this? For example, Goku staying on planet Vegeta. That's a one-shot, because if Goku stays on planet Vegeta, he's dead. So but Goku going off to Namek. Okay, that's multi-part, because I mean, unless I feel there's a certain point where it's going to stop, and I can do that within 30 minutes. It's just a touch and go thing. I mean, let me put it this way: you can look at a subject and immediately say, well, that's clearly multi-part. Just saying Naruto has a Kekkei Genkai, for example, you know it's going to be multi-part, because you're going to tell the entire story of Naruto. But asking, what if Naruto, and I've had this, learned Sage Mode within the 3-year time skip? I might be able to get that done in one go, maybe, or it would be at best 2 parts, because you cut down a bunch of the series. It also depends on where the start of the series, where the start of What If is starting in the series. So there's that. Man, this What If's going on particularly. I know I've had a lot of hour and a half. We're getting there. I've had a lot of long ones. Would the Galactic Empire, number 2, so that's my answer to the one shot versus multiplayer. Would the Galactic Empire rule the galaxy better than Frieza? Yes, because they wouldn't be blowing up planets. Probably not. They might do it as a show of force to show their power, but yeah, no, they probably would be better at ruling. If Captain America was found in real life, do you think he would still be a symbol of hope? No, unfortunately not. We live in a day and age where we're so much more self-centered. We're more about the me than the we anymore. And that the old-timey way. Honestly, people would just look at him and say boomer, or they'd crucify him because of when he came from and judge him for shit that he had probably no part of. But they're so entitled and idiotic these days that, yeah, I really don't think if a real life Captain America was found, he'd be a symbol of hope. Sadly, he would try, but unfortunately, I don't think it would work. The speeches really wouldn't work that well. Americans are too stubborn and stupid a lot of times to be swayed. Who do you think best represents truth, justice, in the American way? That one is Captain America. Superman actually denounced his American citizenship in the comics. Captain America is literally Captain America, and he actually stands for the ideals of America. He really does. Superman is raised American, all American, but he doesn't necessarily stand for the ideals per se. Yeah, he does, but it's not who he is, not what he represents or embodies. Captain America has literally gone against the government for the people. So, yeah. Do you think Umbrella Corporation would thrive in the world of the Boys universe, or would they fall like in this universe? That's tough, because they would be going head-to-head with Vought. And would the T-Virus get out, and would Homelander be affected by it? Because... I think would they thrive? No. Would they be successful? I think so. Who is the better pure martial artist? Goku, Wonder Woman, Batman, or Wolverine? Batman has said that Wonder Woman is the best melee fighter in the DC world. So even though I think Batman is, but if we're talking about martial artist, Batman I think is better than Wonder Woman. Straight martial artist. But if we're talking about just hand-to-hand melee in general, Batman has said Wonder Woman's better than him. That's not to say he couldn't keep up if their stats were evened out, and maybe even win occasionally. Goku is a good fighter, but you have to factor a lot of his physicality in. And Wolverine is a good martial artist, but he doesn't usually use it a lot in his fights. So I'm going to actually say Batman is the best martial artist among the 4. Wolverine is the best. Wonder Woman is the best melee fighter among the 4, taking out any of the actual physicality. And then 7, how would you do your what if, for example, if Goku landed the Kent? Okay, I actually told you this, but I actually did do that. What the Kents adopted him. I actually did do that what if. So I'll leave you to go find that video. If Ben Tennyson came access to Saiyan's DNA and the Omnitrix, would he still have access to the Saiyan transformation, or would he gain something entirely different? So believe it or not, I believe I actually talked about this when Goku had the Omnitrix. For example, think words here. Ben would not be able to turn into a Super Saiyan on his own. When he activates it, he looks like Ben, just buffer and able to turn to a Zara 1A. So yeah, he still should be able to access the Super Saiyan transformations. That's in the DNA there. But if a Saiyan has the Omnitrix, he can't turn into a Super Saiyan while in alien form because that rewrites the DNA. That's the whole point of the Omnitrix. So it actually negates Super Saiyans. So yeah, he should still be able to turn into Super Saiyan with the Omnitrix. Number 9, could the Beyonder be able to overpower Dragon Ball Universe? Probably. The Yonder is uber powerful, and hence he's from beyond even the multiverse. So at minimum, he could go toe to toe with the Omni King at easily toe to toe, but more than likely he is stronger. If you were related, if you be related to any slasher villain, who would you? If I could be related, you won't be killed by them. At most, they would keep you alive. Related to any slasher villain? I'll go with Jason, because you're saying I won't be killed. Michael Myers is just too psychotic. Freddy's a creep. And because he's a torturer keeping me alive, not great. Not to say I couldn't maybe take Freddy. I'm just saying there's that. Leatherface is a bunch of hicks. Don't want to deal with that. And cannibals. Jason, frankly, I just don't. I'll just leave Jason alone. If he's not going to kill me, then I could maybe visit him and keep him company if he's willing to have some company. All right, we're in the finals now, folks. James Riley, do you think summons can be Edo Tenseis or sacrifice for Edo Tenseis? Sacrifice for Edo Tenseis, yes. Edo Tensei themselves, it all depends if you have the DNA, because that's how you use it and make an Edo Tensei. So if you got the DNA, I don't honestly see a reason why not. Powder99 asks, what are your thoughts on YouTube not obtainer of employees about the rule change? I'm assuming you're meaning not updating, not obtainer, not updating employees about the rule changes. I don't know what you're talking about, honestly. I mean, if we're talking about the rule changes from long ago, well, you need to send out notifications, so it's kind of a dick move. But if you're talking about new rule changes, I haven't heard anything about that. So there's that. Isaiah Green, who would win, Kent Nelson, Dr. Fate, DC Comics, I already wrote this down, by the way, versus Pennywise in the Stephen King universe? Dr. Fate would make mincemeat of Pennywise. You already asked me, Diego, if I had a favorite food. Which series, John Coleman asked, which series of Star Trek do you think is better? If Captain Kirk, would be better if Captain Kirk was in command of the ship. So it's funny, because in lore, a bunch of captains met, and they even said Kirk was the best captain. With Captain Kirk in charge, probably. I think Deep Space Nine, or Deep Space Nine, not Voyager, where they're lost, but Deep Space Nine, where they're in the battle. Because I think it's Cisco is the name of that captain. He kind of came off as a bit of a douche, but he had a reason for it. I'd say Kirk would probably handle that better because it's probably a better war type captain. But Enterprise would also probably work because it was their first voyages. And last but not least, Sarjura Stormblade. I have two questions. In one of your earlier what ifs a few years ago, you mentioned that you didn't write that much down so you could keep track of all the details in your head. As the years have passed, have you done more? Or more what ifs? As you've done more and more what ifs, have you started writing more things down, or do you still keep things in details in your head? All right, so that's the first question. I've actually done a bit of a 50-50 split. I will usually write down the initial concept, so I have it on paper, I see it, and I can ingrain that in my head of where I'm going with the what if. After that, I can keep in my head what's going on, but every once in a while, I'll still write notes to be sure I'm like, okay, this happened, make sure I get this, all that. So it's a bit more of it's a mixed bag. I'll start writing, and then I usually just end up with stuff in my head. And finally, I also wondering if I'm opinion on the verdicts of any of your Versus videos have changed since you published them, whether it's because you learned some new information and you didn't know at the time, or you've come to disagree with the arguments you made on something else. Also, thanks for making the videos, Amir. I've been watching since your Obi-Wan versus Kakashi death battle. Well, thanks for watching since then. So, last but not least, have my thoughts changed on any Versus I have done? Probably, but I'd have to go through all of them and see who I chose and why I chose them. Like the Goku one, for example. The Goku one, Goku versus Superman one, I admit, I acknowledge Superman probably does win the fight. All out, Superman does win the fight. On a neutral ground playing field where Superman's not able to amp himself, though, I think Goku takes that fight. Like I said, in the Tournament of Power, for example, Superman, I think, takes that fight. Goku takes that fight. If you're maxing Goku out and maxing Superman out to what he can do there, yeah, I actually give Goku that win. But I think it's all circumstantial, basically. But yeah, I'm sure other opinions have changed over the years. But yeah, that's my thoughts ultimately. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this laggy video. If you made it this far, hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And now I'm going to go get something to drink to soothe my throat. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later, and I'll be uploading these later.